You know what's strange? The moment I stopped talking, you probably thought that was when I disappeared. But I need you to hear this. Really hear it. Because this has been sitting in my chest for longer than I care to admit. I was already gone long before the silence came. There's a particular kind of grief that no one talks about. It's not the grief of losing someone all at once. It's the grief of losing someone slowly, in pieces, while they're still standing right in front of you. While you're still texting back, while you're still showing up, while you're still smiling and pretending that everything is fine, that you're fine, that this is fine. That was me. For a long time, that was me. I remember when I made a choice, a quiet, terrifying choice to open up, to stop hiding behind composure and just let you in. I told you things I don't say out loud. I showed you parts of me that I guard carefully, not because I'm weak, but because those parts matter, because I matter. And I trusted you with that. I became vulnerable, and for a moment I thought maybe that was the right thing to do. Maybe this was where it all changes. But it didn't change. Not in the way I needed. What I got back wasn't what I gave, and I don't mean that as an accusation. I want you to understand that. I'm not standing here pointing fingers or building a case against you. I'm just telling you the truth of what I felt, because I owe that to myself. I gave time, genuine, irreplaceable time, the kind of time you never get back. And what returned to me felt like crumbs. Just enough to keep me there. Just enough to make me wonder if I was reading too much into things. Just enough to make me question myself instead of the situation. I kept giving, because that's who I am. When I'm in, I'm in. I don't do things halfway. I don't love halfway. I don't care halfway. That's not a flaw. It's one of the truest things about me. But somewhere in the middle of all that giving, I started to notice something. A pattern. Small things at first, easy to dismiss. Then bigger things. Then undeniable things. The kind of things that once you see them, you can't unsee them. And I sat with that clarity for a while. I let it settle. I examined it from every angle, hoping I was wrong, hoping there was an explanation I hadn't considered, hoping the next day would feel different. It didn't. So let me tell you what silence actually is, because I don't think people understand it. Silence isn't giving up out of anger. Silence isn't a punishment. Silence isn't me walking away because I stopped caring. Silence is what happens when someone has said everything they can say, felt everything they can feel, and finally decides to listen to themselves instead. My silence was an act of self-respect. Maybe the first truly self-respecting thing I'd done in a long time. Because I had reached a point where continuing to pour myself into something that didn't align with who I am, what I value, how I believe people deserve to be treated, it stopped making sense. It stopped being love. It started being loss disguised as loyalty. And I refused to keep losing myself quietly. There are things I value deeply. Honesty, reciprocity, the feeling that your presence matters, not just when it's convenient, not just when someone needs something, but always. Consistency, respect, not the spoken kind, but the kind that shows up in how someone treats your time, your words, your heart. When those things stopped being present, when what we were doing stopped reflecting those values, I had a decision to make. Not out of bitterness, not out of revenge, but out of something deeper and quieter than either of those things. Out of self-preservation. Out of finally choosing myself. And maybe that sounds cold. Maybe the silence felt sudden to you. Maybe you're reading this, hearing this, and thinking, I didn't even know something was wrong. And that right there might be the saddest part of all. Because I was telling you, not always in words, but I was telling you. In the way I started to pull back slightly, in the way my responses became more measured, in the way I stopped reaching first, in the way my energy shifted because I was no longer able to pretend that everything was okay when my insides were quietly unraveling. But sometimes people only notice the silence when it's complete, not the slow fading, not the quiet withdrawal, only the total absence. So if you're listening to this and something in you recognizes this feeling, whether you're the one who went silent or the one wondering why someone did, I want you to hold on to this. You are allowed to protect your peace. You are allowed to stop explaining yourself to people who have consistently misunderstood you. You are allowed to realize that not every connection is meant to last, and that walking away from what no longer serves your growth is not failure. It is wisdom earned the hard way. You gave enough, you tried enough, you held on long enough, and sometimes the most powerful, most loving thing you can do for yourself is to finally, gently let go. I didn't lose you when I went quiet. I lost you long before that. And the silence? The silence was just me finally catching up to what my heart already knew.